It is Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024. This is another edition of Football Today. You know those dudes from the Talking Giants world. Bobby Skinner, Justin Pennick. I am Chris Rose. Producer Mikey is here as well, and so too is Draft Week. Are you guys going to be together at all, Bobby?
Yes, I am flying up to New York City, 6 a.m. flight. Headed there. We got a lot going on this week. Sleepless nights, but a lot of fun. I'm excited for it.
Pennick, you ready? Are you guys going to have bunk beds, or how are we doing this?
Oh no, we'll be sleeping right on the table where I am. Right in Studio 2 in Manhattan. No, I'm really excited, man. Like the direction that this draft could go, like a million different ways. Like we're obviously going to be talking about like, oh, who's going to be taking quarterbacks, who's going to trade up for a quarterback, trading down, and I also feel like there could be little itty bitty trades too for teams that aren't even taking quarterbacks. So I'm really excited to see how this goes because this first round could either go crazy or it can kind of just go chalk and everybody stays where they're at. Well, we know that's not going to be what it's going to be, but we have a ton of fun and a ton of content planned this week, even on JM Football too. So stay tuned for that. Put on the notification bell on so you don't miss anything that we do. How about that?
That'll be great. I'll hit it right now. Go do that. We are doing our second first round mock draft. We've done a first and a second round, but we're going to go back and we changed things up. Last time, Justin, you had the first pick, then Bobby had the second pick, and I had the third pick, and then we kept going around. Now it's totally different because Bobby has got the first pick in the draft. Then I go 2, 5, 8, etc. And then Justin, you have 3, 6, 9, 12, blah, 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 blah. So let's see how we do. I've got a few. I'm just going to warn you. I got some stuff that's going to make your head spin today. Just saying. Just saying. So
Let's get the spinning.
All right, let's go. The Chicago Bears officially on the clock for the first time ever with the number 1 overall pick, at least in the modern draft. Bobby Skinner, take it away.
The Chicago Bears will be taking USC quarterback Caleb Williams. You know, this is the obvious pick for the Bears, but because it's been so obvious, I feel like we have not talked about like the Bears actually drafting Caleb Williams in some time. We've talked more about what they're going to do with their 9th pick and all that. This is so awesome for the Bears, right? Like they should have their first legitimate franchise QB. I know they've had Jay Cutler and some other guys who, were serviceable, but they've never had like a 30 passing touchdown season in their franchise's history. And now they are, that trade down last year, right? I bet you a lot of Bears fans or whoever were like, we should stick and take a quarterback. We don't know we're going to be having the first overall pick. You get that trade down, you get DJ Moore out of it, you get Darnell Wright. It turned into Keenan Allen, and now you have this opportunity plus your pick at pick 9. This is such an awesome situation for Chicago, and I'm really excited to see how that team grows this season.
They also have never had, I believe, a 4,000-yard passer in the history of the franchise. And to me, the most interesting, I think, parallel roads to see will be the evolution of C.J. Stroud and Caleb Williams. Because it didn't necessarily mean if they had held on to the first pick that they would have taken Bryce Young. They could have gone with C.J. Stroud as the first pick. So maybe that's the one that you're looking at 7, 8 years down the road.
Yeah, that is a good part of this, right? Like, what does the Chicago Bears team look like with CJ Stroud? But it's there in such a good situation. I mean, I love Caleb Williams. We'll see how he handles being an NFL professional athlete. Like, I do think there are some question marks there, not as much as some people probably have blown it out to be. But hey, he's confident, and he said in an interview, like, I do everything like better than the rest of the guys, right? If you put them all together, I don't know if they're a better prospect than me. So he has the confidence, he has all the ability in the world, and I think he's going to turn that Chicago Bears team around for 10 years or so.
Agreed.
All right, second pick, I've got it with the Washington Commanders, and they are in similar waters as the Chicago Bears, meaning they just keep rotating guys through. In fact, I believe the last quarterback they had to start consecutive week 1s was Kirk Cousins.
Yes, that is true.
It has been a while. So for the longest time, we all thought that Drake May was the slam dunk here. And then over the last week or 10 days, it's been Jaden Daniels from LSU. And now the reports are, well, my God, they brought him in as part of this quarterback competition, right? Where they all get together. I don't know if they did the Top Golf thing together,
Yeah,
whatever it
Topgolf.
was, right? And apparently his agent was pissed that they kind of dragged him in, that they thought that it was going to be a one-on-one meeting instead of get everybody together and see who the big dog is in this entire group. I don't know. Do either of you guys think that that I don't know if you want to call it like a festival or a carnival act. Do you think that plays into what is going on here, Justin?
Can we expand on the story that you're alluding to? Because I missed
Yes.
You missed it? They
I-
brought like 20 guys in for top 30 visits all on the same day, including all the quarterbacks. And then, they went to Top Golf that night all together as a group. How did you miss? This was like story
big
number
story.
one for a
and they were,
couple.
and they were being like evaluated at Topgolf.
I mean,
being
I don't know
evaluated
exactly what went
everywhere.
into the Top Golf evaluation, but they did all go to Top Golf together. I saw someone make a joke like they should have had like, executives like, cosplaying as waiters at the Top Golf to get a better read on the guys. But so all the smoke says Jaden Daniels that too, mainly being Adam Schefter saying that over and over again. I still don't believe I don't believe anything until the day of the draft. Belichick even said that on his little appearance with Pat McAfee. It's like the stuff doesn't leak out until the day of. A lot of the stuff is agent talk. So I'm not saying that's wrong, but I don't put any stock into the Adam Schefter being so definitive that Jaden Daniels is going to.
Except that Chris Rose now says he is going to.
Oh,
Here we go.
So I'm going to take him. I am not comparing him to Joe Burrow, but their paths are similar, right? They go to other schools. The difference is Daniels was a starter at Arizona State. Joe Burrow couldn't get on the field at Ohio State. You would probably say after their first respective years at LSU, mid-round picks. They then go on. They each win the Heisman Trophy, throwing to 2 first-round receivers. Burrow's stats were ridiculous, and he won a national championship. Jaden Daniels didn't have that, but he did end up winning the Heisman and having a nice 40-4 touchdown to interception ratio. So I'm going to say they build their relationship together. Whatever issues there may have been throughout the draft process do not matter now. Welcome to Washington, Jaden Daniels.
Are we doing this as what we think's going to happen, or what would we do?
I did it as what I think is going to happen.
Okay.
I think for quarterbacks we do what we think, and then I think the rest of the draft we do what we want. that's how my brain has approached it. And man, I have 3. I'm the New England Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
I told you both because there were the rumors that were coming out of my front office because my front office has very loose lips. I have very loose lips, and I was prepared to take JJ McCarthy. I was watching Malik Neighbors and watching Jaden Daniels kind of miss him and seeing how, believe it or not, Malik Neighbors would have had like even more of an insane year if Jaden Daniels actually hit him a little bit more often. But that makes the decision a lot easier because I thought Drake May was going to come off the board at 2. So give me Drake May at 3. Like I was prepared to take JJ McCarthy, and I was prepared to have the holy shit, did the New England Patriots really just do that even with better players on the board? Yeah. We really like him, but we didn't think May was going to fall. So Drake May, number 3.
Wow.
It will be interesting to see if the Commanders don't go Jaden Daniels at 2, because like how do the other teams? Because like there's arguments to be made that JJ McCarthy is better than Jaden Daniels. Now I wouldn't be one of those people making those arguments. I think the argument for that is that you just don't think Jaden Daniels is good. It's not really a pro JJ McCarthy argument,
right?
But it will be interesting to see if the Patriots like how they maneuver that if Jaden Daniels is available and Drake May is the one who goes 2. But like we all said, it does seem like Daniels is going to go 2, and Chris Rose picked him number 2.
Right.
So Drake May is off the board. The Arizona Cardinals are on the clock. We're running to the table, and we're picking Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver out of Ohio State. Me and Justin talked about him today on our wide receiver draft preview, and we do our way too early draft preview every year in June on Talking Giants, and we just threw Marvin Harrison Jr. on there because we're like, we don't have a chance at him, but I just want to talk about like how special this player is, and now he ends up falling to pick 4. To like the Cardinals are in a great spot where they can just either take the best player available, or if they really want to trade down, they can do that. But I'm sticking at 4, and I'm picking Marvin Harrison Jr. of the Arizona Cardinals.
Can I ask you guys a question about this? And I thought about it the other day on my walk. It's just outside enjoying the fresh air. And I've watched a lot of Marvin Harrison, right? We're kind of a Buckeye family out here. We're not diehard, but we watch him a lot. So we've seen a ton of his games. Do you think if his name was Joe Smith, we would look at him differently?
I think there's a little more like it's just a little more fun. But I mean, look at what he's done.
Right, but I'm just saying, is he that much better than Malik Neighbors and Roma Dunze, or is it his pedigree that pushes him over the top? That's my question.
I think he is, man. Like you talk about, like we talk with college corners and watch college corners over the last couple of years, and it's just the one guy who they have nothing for is Marvin Harrison Jr., right? Like a guy like Deonte Banks. Like did Marvin Harrison Jr. or Deonte Banks win that matchup? Marvin Harrison Jr. did, but it was seen as a pro for Deonte Banks the way that he played against him. So like when top corners can have a game they lost be a part of the pro because they did some good stuff versus this type of player. I truly think he is special. Like there's just no weaknesses in his games besides the fact that he's not the same explosive athlete that a Malik Neighbors is. I think he's someone who's going to command double teams, which he did in college, and he's just going to consistently win. He's someone that you can build an offense around in a sense where even if it's wrong, it's right to throw to this guy.
And I think even the fact that he doesn't have like that explosive ceiling that Malik Neighbors does, right? Or even, you look at Rome Odunze and the contested catch, right? The fact that Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't have a trump card necessarily. Like there's not one trait that like, oh, this is what he does best because he just does everything well. Like he can go up there and he can make the contested catch, but he also is a guy that are in the intermediate and the deep parts of the field can get 5 yards of separation based on what he does at the line of scrimmage or what he does at the stem of the route. So that's the type of thing where if you look at Harrison, where a lot of the other receivers, it's like, all right, are you a contested catch guy? Are you a physical guy? Are you a speed guy? Are you a yak guy? That's your trump card. But Harrison doesn't have that necessarily because he's just that good at everything, and he's a good all-around receiver.
It's fair. I just always think it's a fun question.
Oh, it is.
But we haven't had a lot of sons of Hall of Fame receivers who are even higher build than their dad when they came out, because people forget.
Yeah,
Marvin,
I mean, there's a lot of sons too, right? Like there's been a lot of but even in this, we have Jerry Rice's son and Jeremiah Trotter's son. There's been a son, like there's been guys' sons. He is the one of one though, out of all those guys.
He's the number one son.
And it's not like his dad was just some guy coming out. I mean, he was a first-round pick as well. And there you go, lived up to it. So now we get to the Chargers at 5. And, right, we all believe that they're in a fascinating position because they've already got their quarterback. There's some quarterback available there, J.J. McCarthy, who people are going to want to trade up for, right? We think that's why the Vikings picked up a second first-round pick in order to do this whole thing, and they're sitting at 11. They could make the easy trade here at 5. I'm not taking their call. I need wide receivers. Their top 3 wide receivers on their depth chart right now are Joshua Palmer, Quentin Johnston, Darius Davis. They combine for 1,000.
That's 2 TCU guys.
It is. They combined for 1,078 yards and 4 touchdowns a season ago. That ain't good enough. But I am going to surprise you. I am passing on Malik Neighbors. I am going with Rome Odunze. I want a guy who I know will not only be productive on the field, but is as buttoned up. Everything you read about this guy is 1-1 in terms of makeup, personality, football all the time. I've lived in Los Angeles for 25 years. It can get a little sideways for guys when they're not used to this area. So, Rome Odunze, welcome to Los Angeles. Introduce yourself to Coach Harbaugh. It'll
be interesting to see if they do stick, if they go wide receiver. Because I think because of some of Jim Harbaugh's quotes, people have just assumed offensive line, or they're the team that makes the most sense to trade down. But if I were them, I would draft wide receiver if I stuck at this pick. And the Odunze versus Neighbors things. Another thing me and Justin talked about on Talking Giants on Monday is whose career would you rather have, Odell or Mike Evans, right? Both guys from the same class. Odell, for the first 4 or 5 years, you would have picked Odell. He was
Right.
on pace, one of the best wide receiver careers of all time. Then injuries, headaches happen. And now you look at it, it's like, okay, Mike Evans is the Hall of Famer. Odell Beckham Jr.'s
Should have been
not.
that.
And I think Malik Neighbors versus Rome Odunze is a very similar situation.
Totally.
And the Neighbors stuff with he went to Mardi Gras to drink with a loaded weapon. He got off with a slap on the wrist because of who he is. But that is legitimately worrisome for, I'm a New York Giants fan. I like Malik Neighbors more than Rome Odunze. But if they do go Rome over Neighbors, I am not going like, why didn't they take the guy who I've used as a better player? I am trusting them in that decision.
Yep.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of times where, as fans, we're willing to say, oh yeah, we'll just trust it. Hey, if we disagree with something, we're gonna say that we disagree with something. But the most complicated and the most difficult part of the draft is all of the data and the information that we don't have access to. And arguably, like, the biggest part of it is, what kind of person are you, and are you willing to work? Are you going to show up to work every day? And Chris, like you said, from everything that we have heard, Rome Odunze is the lunch pail guy that's going to bring, show up to work every day and improve and want to get better. Not saying that Malik Neighbors isn't, but Rome Odunze certainly has proven that he definitely is. So the Giants are taking calls at 6.
There's a quarterback on the board.
I know. I like the Giants in this situation, even though I know Justin's not going to take J.J. McCarthy.
Why not? Why wouldn't you take J.J. McCarthy?
Because we don't think he's a franchise quarterback. We think he can be a really good
You
in
make
a
your own
good
picks.
scheme.
You're in Tennessee's war room. Stay out of the Giants' war room.
I agree, man. I agree. I'm worried about McCarthy getting the ball out to the sideline, and in a Brian Daboll offense that, the goal is to be explosive. They stats wise, the first 2 years they've been bottom of the league in it. But if you look at what they've been trying to accomplish the first couple weeks of the season, is that they're trying to push the ball down the field, and the Giants need a quarterback that can do that. And JJ McCarthy just is not that quarterback for the New York Giants at this point. Yes, there's highlight plays. Yes, he can drive the ball towards the middle of the field, but this isn't a Kyle Shanahan offense. We like to utilize the sidelines as well. And we have some fast receivers too that can utilize the sideline as well. We want a quarterback that we can feel confident that can get the ball out there. The Giants are taking calls at 6. Does anybody want pick 6?
I didn't pay my phone bill.
I didn't think that I'd be trading.
So I'm picking for
Tennessee.
The Raiders are the only team that would be possibly willing, but we don't like JJ McCarthy. We're not calling.
Yeah.
I mean, I could force a trade with the Broncos because I have the Broncos on myself.
Yeah, that's nice.
I could do that. Huh. And the Minnesota Vikings aren't interested?
Sounds great. I really appreciate it. Thank you for checking. I would love for you to. I can't wait to see what you do.
They're calling chicken on you, New York Giants.
And I don't think the Broncos have a good enough. The rumored reported trade offer of the Broncos giving the Giants a first round pick, Patrick Surtain plus like another pick, is absolutely fucking insane.
It's not even real. That's not even real.
I would accept that if I'm the Giants, but that's not real.
Yes.
All right, so then guess what? I'm taking Malik Neighbors because I tried. Nobody really wanted it that bad. Vikings are willing to wait, I guess. JJ McCarthy going to fall.
Just get what I view as the third best player in the draft, the 6th overall pick after Caleb Williams or Marvin Harrison Jr. and Caleb Williams. All right, so the Titans are now on the clock, and we've been rumored to go offensive tackle, and we are going to.
But
I like Olu Fashanu more than I do Joe Alt. I do. I do. And I think he can get a lot better in the run game. But I think
Joe Alt had a very good year last year, apparently.
Yeah, but Joe Alt has some of the same, some of the similar issues. But I am gonna go. I feel pressured by consensus and probably what Titans fans have told themselves is going to happen.
Do it.
But you know what? I want to look back at this mock draft in 3 years and say I was the one who said it. I'm going to Olu Fashanu for the Tennessee Titans at pick 7. I think he's the best tackle in the class. His pass protecting is A1. He's going to be, I think he'll be solid from day one. You get him in there with Bill Callahan. I think he's going to figure, like, okay, we want to figure out how we're going to zone block. Bill Callahan's going to teach you how to fucking zone block. And it's not because he doesn't have the ability. I think his pass protection is just unmatched in this class. So I'm going to Olu Fashanu out of Penn State.
First one off the board for the big boys. That'll be fun. So now we're at pick 8, and my phone is blowing up. It is blowing up. I've got the Minnesota Vikings on one line, but I would like to call Justin. You have the Denver Broncos.
Yes.
Sean Payton did not get back in this game so that frickin' Jarrett Stidham could be his starting quarterback going into the year.
Right.
Okay? I know that you like guys that can process the field. The rest of it you can take care of. Like, as long as you've got a brain that's similar to yours, like J.J. McCarthy is it. He learned under an NFL coach in Jim Harbaugh, right? He has won at every level, high school, college football. Don't you want to find a guy that can do that? Wouldn't you be interested in that?
I'm extremely interested in it.
Good. So what is your offer?
You called me.
Yes. We will take number 12,
Yes.
your pick this year. You know, we did a little research. In 2018, the Buffalo Bills moved from 13 to 7. So they were one pick further down than you guys, and they moved one pick higher. They moved from 13 to 7. They obviously exchanged first-round picks and a pair of seconds. Now, you guys, because you screwed up this Russell Wilson stuff, we don't have that. So we will take your 12th pick overall.
Mhm.
We will take your number 3 pick at 76 and your next 2 second-rounders. Okay, so give it to me in 25 and 26.
Are the Vikings calling as well?
But they are on the other line. I've got them on hold, and you know they're offering an awful lot. So we're building depth here, the Atlanta Falcons. We've got our quarterback. We're good. We want guys down the line.
All right, so you want 12 and then a pair of second rounds?
No, I want 12, 76, and 2 future seconds.
2 future seconds.
Yes, sir. For quarterback of the future?
Broncos have a lot of holes, man. But you know what? Sean Payton is a little desperate. Yeah, I'm with it. Shake hands.
What's the Vikings offer? What's the Vikings offer, though?
I can't tell you that. You know,
They don't want two. They're not going to give up those 2 first-round picks for J.J. McCarthy?
No, they are not.
So we have 12, 76, and then 2 more seconds. I don't know if they would do that. Maybe I'll like throw in 136. You know what? Let's for the sake of keeping this moving. 12, 76, a 2025 round 2 pick, and then I guess we're also saying 2026 round 2 pick.
2026. What are you worried about?
Can you trade 2026 picks?
No, you can't. But we're not worried about this for this exercise. And then this is for pick 8.
Yeah. I'm trying to force the trade, and I can't force the trade. My buttons aren't working.
Make sure you have
Trade accepted.
Make sure you have pick 8 selected on the right side, Chris.
Oh yeah, you're right. There you go.
I'm on the
right.
clock.
So are you taking J.J. McCarthy, Denver Broncos?
I will be taking J.J. McCarthy.
All right, my first second-round graded player to go off the board.
Thank you
What
for that.
what graded player?
Second round.
Wow.
I'll tell you the 2 players ahead of him and below him. Kool-Aid McKinstry and Chop Robinson ahead of him. And then Jackson Powers Johnson and Cam Kinchens, the 2 guys below him.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm
I
insulted
can't wait.
you-
I'll be picking it. I'll be making back-to-back picks today, so I'm excited.
Insulted
go
you have
ahead.
Kool-Aid that low. Insulted.
All right, so Pennick, you're up now.
Yes, I am. Now I got a dilemma. You know, because I have this fantasy of Jared Verse and Montez Sweat on opposite sides of each other. But holy smokes, I have Joe Alt sitting here. Guy that could be a franchise left tackle. And you know, Braxton Jones was all right. You know, missed some time last year with an injury, but you know, he's a 5th round pick from 2022. If I really want to protect Caleb Williams and I want to take that seriously, and I want to continue to invest in premium positions, I got to take Joe Alt, put him at left tackle, and beef up that offensive line. So Joe Alt, you're a Chicago Bear.
Not terrible. Not terrible.
Yeah, I know they drafted Darnell Wright last year, and then Braxton Jones has been like a halfway decent player, but um, I like this for the Chicago Bears, even though I would love for them to get like 2 pass rushers.
I know. I want that too.
So the New York Jets are now on the clock. And, the wide receiver's not there. I don't think Brock Bowers is the smart choice for them. And then there's offensive line, right? I think they should take this offensive line serious, right? And even if it's not a day one impact guy, which I think Fuaga can definitely be that, like at least once this Aaron Rodgers thing ends, you can have some offensive line pieces. I'm taking Oregon State's Tyrese Fuaga. Really like this guy. Probably going to be better as a guard, but I think just like he reminds me so much of another New York Jets draft pick in Elijah Vera Tucker, where I didn't view him as a tackle, but when he went out and played tackle, he did a pretty damn good job. And then he was, an all-pro level type of guard. He's just not been able to stay healthy. So I'm getting Fuaga though. I'm protecting Aaron Rodgers. I'm trying to allow Breece Hall to be a more efficient back, not just a flashy back. And protecting our offensive investments. I would have taken any of those 3 wide receivers, but none of them were there, so I go Fuaga.
Do you think they could get aggressive and trade up for a wide receiver?
Yes, I think if there's any team that is going to trade up for a non-quarterback, it would be the New York Jets.
I think it's possible.
Like I'm talking about into the top 5, possibly.
That's pretty steep, man.
Yeah,
it's pretty steep, but they would do it. I think they're desperate. We've talked about how desperate they are and how desperate they should be. And if they feel like a wide receiver would put them over the top, they should do it, man. Because Mike Williams is not a reliable number 2.
No, right. I think that was one of the worst signings of the offseason.
Where I've got back-to-back picks now with Minnesota and then Atlanta.
Yeah.
So we all thought that Minnesota could have traded up to 5 and didn't. They definitely could have traded up for 8 because we think that they love J.J. McCarthy, right? That's what you can't believe everything.
Apparently not.
Who's the one quarterback we haven't heard associated with the Minnesota Vikings that could be a first rounder?
Penix.
Go ahead. You don't want to say it. I see it. You look like you're about to.
I mean, I like Bo Nix more than Michael Penix. So,
well, that's who it is, right now. Accurate, but it comes with a caveat that more than 28% of his passes came behind the line of scrimmage last year. We can't dismiss that, but when he did throw the ball down the field, it wasn't terrible. And I
think his film is like better than J.J. McCarthy's, but then I think J.J. McCarthy's a better athlete, better arm talent, and then Bo Nix like mastered an offense in his fifth year in college. So I would take McCarthy over Bo Nix, but I think Bo Nix's film is pretty damn good. I have worries about him. I don't like his arm talent, and that flash at the Senior Bowl too. But like he like figures stuff out pretty quickly. But I just don't view him as a first round player.
I know, but we've known for years that quarterbacks, they tend to come up, particularly to quarterback needy teams, and this is a squad that started 4 different quarterbacks last year, including Josh Dobbs the week he was forced into action the week he was traded and then instantly became a starter, and then he got benched. I called a Nick Mullins game last year. Hall out of BYU had to start. So there's no way, and they were winning games. They were winning games with some of these guys. So I guarantee you that in a quarterback guru that they've got as a head coach, that Bo Nix can work up there, and that's why I am taking him.
All right, Bo Nix off the board. So we have 5 quarterbacks in the first 11 picks.
So the Atlanta Falcons are on the clock after the trade with the Denver Broncos. And boy,
this worked out great for them.
Worked out great because now you have your pick of the litter, right? I mean, do we have any edge guys that have been taken off the board yet?
Nope, all 3 are available. So now it's the Chris Rose moment of truth. Who is your edge 1 in this class?
I mean, we've had Dallas Turner being mentioned as the edge one guy. I believe Jared Verse was the first edge guy taken off the board in our initial mock, right?
Yes, I view him as number one.
I also
Yeah.
view him as number one.
No, that's fine because you're both wrong.
Oh,
Dallas Turner.
Leatu Lotu
oh
is coming
oh,
off the
man.
board first. He is far and away the most advanced of all pass rushers. Had nearly 25 combined sacks the last 2 years. I know the neck injury, that's a concern. But man, anybody at any point, unfortunately, could get a neck injury in this sport. So we're going with Latu. Welcome to Atlanta. He's going to be great in this system.
I'm not told, man, that he's going to be.
He's going to be productive. I think there's no doubt in my mind he's going to be a productive player. It's just at what level of like the level of good does he become to? Like, does he get to Aiden Hutchinson's level, right? Like that would be viewed as a success. Like what is the level of success that Latu ends up getting? Because he's going to be productive in the NFL. There's no doubt about that. Dallas Turner, obviously so damn quick, like and plays so like fundamentally correct. And then Jared Verse, the power guy. I think there's more flash in there than people give it. But Latu is undoubtedly going to be productive at the next level.
Okay. You're welcome.
All right, Raiders are on the clock, and I'm repeating what we did in the last one. This one's easy for me. I'm going Quinyon Mitchell, the cornerback out of Toledo. Lockdown corner. You know, we talked about how he gave up a touchdown to Marvin Harrison Jr. in 2022, but he looked pretty damn good in those other matchups with him. I think he's just like the perfect balance of disciplined and aggressive. All of those pass breakups that he's been able to get. You know, if for me personally, if the New York Giants have to trade down, he's like the player I would like to target. So Raiders desperately need corners for Patrick Graham in that defense, and I'm getting them Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo.
I love Quinyon Mitchell, one of my favorite players in the draft, and
Yeah, he's awesome.
I think this might be one of our first, besides the top four, top five. This is our first repeat pick because I think Quinyon Mitchell can fit very, very well in Patrick Graham's system. Ran a lot of cover 3 at Toledo. Last time he checked in, Neighbors was a repeat. Last time that we checked in, Patrick Graham ran a lot of cover 3 with the Giants, and I think Quinyon Mitchell is just going to be awesome for that defense.
Let's see here. I'm on the clock at 14, and if this is really the way it's going to go, there are going to be people buzzing for Dallas Turner, right? They have to be calling. So I'm going to look and say there's got to be. I mean, the Rams don't want to try and get a guy like Dallas Turner. Seattle doesn't want him.
Seattle would be interesting, but also I don't have the Seattle pick, but I'm willing to bet Seattle sitting there being like, well, you have Jared Verse and Dallas Turner on the board, and we'll just take one of them, and we're up in 2 picks.
We're content where we're at with Seattle,
and we know the Colts.
We have 3 guys on our board. We're happy taking any one of the 3, so we're not trading up.
Yeah, I got it. Well, the problem is that we have a tackle problem on the offensive side of the football for the Saints. And Mickey Loomis, he's been doing this for more than 20 years in the Bayou. He drafts linemen with the first and second round picks. Like, in fact, 4 of their 5 projected starters, 3 of them are first rounders, 1's a second rounder, and that's what we do here. And Trevor Pennick has not worked out so far, and Ryan Ramczyk, who knows if he's available with a knee. So we don't have a choice. We've got to go with a tackle, and we're going to go with J.C. Latham here.
J.C. Latham, okay. Big, strong, powerful tackle. I will save some commentary for when the Seahawks are on the board.
Okay.
So you got the Colts.
I feel like I haven't picked in 20 years. Colts are on the board. And the last time that, I think in the second round mock, where I did something that the Colts wouldn't do and Chris Ballard wouldn't do, well, I'm going to do something that Chris Ballard would do, and a guy that I think kind of feels inevitable that he's going to be a Colt. Brian Thomas Jr., LSU. You are an Indianapolis Colt. We know that the Colts love size. We know that Ballard likes size, speed. Like, he goes for those traits. He has a type, and Brian Thomas Jr. is that type. So, hey, there goes the there goes the little theory that maybe the Colts draft night are going to trade for T. Higgins because they're maybe going to be willing to bet that Brian Thomas Jr. falls to them, or if Brian Thomas Jr. goes ahead of them, then maybe they get on the phone with Cincinnati and start talking T. Higgins.
Yeah, if that player is available, it is. I just think the Colts cannot pass up on someone that is that tall and that fast.
Yep.
Even if I didn't like Brian Thomas Jr., I don't know if they're physically capable of passing up on that. Like maybe Armarius Mims, like that another 99 percentile size guy. So the Seahawks are on the board, and I was hoping you guys would make the decision for me. Like I said, I had a 3-man big board a couple picks ago. Fautanu, Verse, and Dallas Turner, right? Like, hey, like when I put my notes together, like Fautanu or Edge is what I'm looking for out of this, and all three are available. So I know the Seahawks don't have like any top pass rushers, but they've got some guys who can like get some pressure with Nwosu, Boye Mafe. They drafted Derek Hall early last year. So I'm going to take care of the offensive line. I'm going to keep Troy Fautanu home from Washington. I really would like to get one of those pass rushers, but I think with Leonard Williams and Jaron Reed's not much of a passer, I just think they have enough talent up front to get by, and I would like to replace Abe Lucas as the right tackle.
Oh, didn't they just draft him in the 3rd round a couple of years ago?
Yes.
And he was fine. Last year, he totally lost the season because of injury.
Yes, but like, is he that good though? Right.
Well, so the question is he better than Dallas Turner would have been as an edge? If you're saying, like you could have,
like he didn't have, like he played, 6 games last year. And he gave up 2 sacks and 15 pressures.
But he was hurt. He was hurt the whole year. He injury.
Yeah.
I don't think he was that bad as a rookie. I really don't.
I think he got hyped up a little bit because he was like a rookie, because he wasn't god awful, but there was like he wasn't great either.
But the good thing about Fautanu is that he has the guard versatility anyway, and they need bodies on the offensive.
Yeah, that's true.
That's fair.
So if Abe Lucas gets hurt again, then you have a guy that's
around.
capable of sliding to the right side. Even though you don't want to put that much pressure on a rookie, but he certainly can do it.
Okay, so we're at 17 with the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are an interesting team because they've got a lot of talent, and they should have been better last year. They just weren't. So it's like when you say, do the Jags need this? No, they kind of are. They're okay in a lot of areas. They're good in some, and then one of the areas where I think they're okay actually is edge, right? I mean, they took a 1-1 a couple
you
years
have Josh
ago.
Allen.
And you've got
Trayvon
Josh
Walker
Allen.
hasn't lived up to pick number 1, but he did have 10 sacks last year.
He did.
He
did. But you know what? You can always add more. And all I remember is Philadelphia a few years ago having 8 guys on their front line that they could just rotate in, and it helped them win Super Bowl 52. So even if it's not an exact area of need and Dallas Turner's on the board, why the heck wouldn't you take him? Which is why I'm going to take him.
Well, here's the thing: is Jacksonville only drafts players from Florida, so Jared Verse would be a better. Like it's the only team in the NFL who I really think values jersey sales when making their draft picks. So the amount of Florida players that they have drafted.
Except that isn't Dallas Turner, isn't Alabama part of Florida? That's
what I was going to say. So it's close enough, and I bet you look up Dallas Turner. Did the man play high school ball in Florida? Because I wouldn't be surprised at that either.
Right.
So Dallas Turner is the pick for the Jacksonville Jags. I agree with you. The idea, take pass rushers, have a rotation. Like it will help you win Super Bowls. Mm-hmm. Having a pass rush rotation that is tier 1. So I agree with you.
Okay, thank you.
Bring back the NASCAR formation. Just put all the fast guys on the field at one time.
Bengals.
Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
This is where I want Brock Bowers to go.
Not me.
I bet you don't, because Burrow is going to use him, right? Burrow has been like Mr. make cheap tight end look better than he is, like type of quarterback in the NFL. Um, and then you get him someone legit. I think Zach Taylor would do some like good stuff with him out of empty. Would know how to use him. Like essentially answers your slot need too. Brock Bowers. Let's have it. Like that is where I want Brock Bowers to go.
It's the dream destination.
Really interesting. Ah, that's brutal. Y'all just gave me a headache.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. Bobby?
So the Los Angeles Ramblers are on the clock. And man, this draft is just coming to me
Right.
very well with the picks that I have.
Sure is.
I'm going Byron Murphy.
Yep.
He's not an Aaron Donald replacement, but he's pretty damn good. And he's like he can fit that role in that defense without them having to change it too much. So to me, this is an easy pick. Well, Jared Verse is tough because I do have Verse rated higher than Byron Murphy. But I think Murphy just flashes so much of the pass rusher and knows how to work around his limitations in the run game to where I think he's just a perfect fit for the Rams. And I'm putting him in there.
Steelers are on the clock. Do you want to play a little quiz game while we're here?
Oh, love trivia.
I bet you I could win it.
Okay. Name me the last wide receiver selected in the first round by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Plaxico Burress.
Justin?
Mike Wallace is my first guess, but he definitely was not a first round pick. Might have even been a day 3 pick. I don't know.
How about does this help? Super Bowl MVP.
San Antonio.
Hines Ward.
Santonio Holmes.
Got it.
Oh, yes. And I forgot that was a draft trade, too.
I always call him
that-
San Antonio Holmes, and that's very wrong.
I think the Giants traded out of that pick.
Sounds right. 2006.
And then they drafted Sonoris Moss. How about that?
2006. Now, the Steelers have done great in drafting receivers from the second round on. They really have done exceptionally well. It's almost uncanny. But this is a year where we cannot afford to do that because outside of George Pickens, which is fine,
Jermaine Burton, does he not scream Pittsburgh Steeler? Like character concerned, talented wide receiver?
The next 4 guys on their depth chart are Van Jefferson, Denzel Mims, Calvin Austin III, and Quez Watkins. Those 4 combined for 57 catches a season ago. 57. We need help.
I like Calvin
here.
Austin a little bit, but yes,
yeah, I do
agree.
too. But the guy had less than 20
I
catches
know.
last year, and he missed his entire rookie year because he was hurt. So we're now in year 3 and waiting. So I look at the list, and I just feel like there's a big drop off from Brian Thomas to the next guy, and I'm not even 100% sure who the next guy is, but I think we went with him to Pittsburgh in first time, and it's Adonai Mitchell. I just think he's the most complete of those next dudes, whether that's Troy Franklin or Ladd McConkey, or if you're feeling somebody else. So I'm going to go with one of the 2 kids out of Texas in this one, Adonai Mitchell.
Agreed. And I have the Buffalo Bills pick at pick 28, and we are in pain. I think the Bills are going to try and trade up for a wide receiver because of these 5 guys. The top 5 guys will probably be off the board.
Mhm.
But A.D. Mitchell, welcome to Blitzburg.
Yep.
Man. Jared Verse is the best player.
Pick it. It's time. It's time.
But I mean, the Dolphins don't really need Jared Verse, right? Is Bradley Chubb still really floating around? And what kind
He's
of
hurt.
Year, what kind of year did he have last year?
They've got 2 edge
Played
guys
well, but he
coming
got hurt
off
at
of
the end of the season.
major injuries between Phillips and Chubb. We're not just talking about like injuries. And Chubb was hurt on the last like meaningless 3 minutes of a game.
Mm-hmm.
So Jared Verse is the best player on the board. I mean, I also have my eye on Johnny Newton, who I watched today, and hubba. Holy shit. But Jared Verse is the best player on the board. And hey, we talk about defenses that have a lot of depth at edge and pass rusher. Dolphins are going to take Jared Verse. Player falls this far. I feel like you got to pull the trigger there.
So that's got to be the biggest drop off from our first mock to this because he went 8th in the last one. Now he goes 21st.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have seen him a little bit all over the board.
Yeah. Like
So
I even think like Bobby and I having him edge 1 is it's not. I've seen people with having him as edge 1, but I feel like that's kind of a little bit unconventional.
Okay. Bobby?
Philadelphia Eagles on the clock. And when I put together my notes on this, um, I was viewing Cooper DeJean out of Iowa or offensive line, right? Like, could they be willing to go Amarius Mims and let him sit behind Lane Johnson for a year
Yes.
or however many years until Lane Johnson decides to call it quits?
That's what they
Good.
do.
Like, it could make sense. I mean, Lane Johnson he'll be 34 in a few weeks. But I think Lane Johnson's that type of guy that is going to try and I'm going to go Cooper DeJean. They need secondary help.
Okay.
Whether he's playing corner or safety, he's going to help them. I know they have Slay and Bradbury as starting corners, but I'm just going to take the corner out of Iowa and live with it. But I did think about going Amarius Mims out of Georgia.
Yeah, Cooper DeJean is really interesting. And he's the one guy who I wanted to see compete at the combine who couldn't, and then he blew it up at his pro day. He just seems pretty fascinating. All right,
Yep.
the Vikings. Now we held on to this pick. Everybody thought we were going to trade up to 5, and then when
Take another QB.
yeah, why not? Let's have competition. Sam Darnold wouldn't love us, but that's okay. We're not here to. We're not going to do this. And I was really, really upset actually that Byron Murphy went 19 because I wanted to have Byron Murphy and Byron Murphy on the same defense. I thought that would have been fun. But speaking of Byron Murphy, their starting corners are Murphy and a Caleb Evans, and that's not good enough. Like now we have to worry about what's going on in Detroit and Green Bay and now Chicago. Like we've got some really interesting quarterbacks and receiver combos in this division. So I need somebody, and that's why Nate
Can I
Wiggins.
take back my 22nd pick?
Why? What were you going to do?
Because I was so set on like Terrion Arnold not being there that I forgot that he was there.
Yeah,
Oh,
I like Nate Wiggins a little bit better. I don't know if it's this. I don't know. I just do.
I screwed that up.
Okay, I'm
Ratchet.
taking Nate Wiggins.
So you're taking Nate. Can I take back the Eagles pick or no?
You cannot.
Oh no!
You've already turned in the card.
Howie Roseman
true.
messed up.
I wouldn't let myself take it back. So you're going Nate Wiggins to the Vikings though?
Yes.
Hey, yeah, speed for Brian
Yep.
Flores in that attacking defense.
Yes.
I mean, Cowboys are looking at Terrion Arnold being on the board and like, what? No, but they got 2 corners on the outside already. Yeah,
It'll be so interesting to see what Deron Bland does this year. 'Cause he's not going to get 10 pick sixes this season. Like what?
No.
No, he's not.
What will he be? And especially Dan Quinn. How much does that defense change?
Although Diggs is back now.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts of football today ever was like, will the Cowboys be able to survive as a defense? But is Deron Bland going to get the interceptions that a Trevon Diggs does? No. And not only did he get the interceptions, he set the record for like pick sixes, I think.
I think we edited that out of the episode now.
He led the NFL in non-offensive touchdowns last year. That was in a JM football trivia video recently. Or no, it's going to be in Jeopardy. Oh, there you go. You know one of the answers to the questions. Bada bing, bada boom. There's some fun players. Johnny Newton. We already mentioned Terry.
It'd be hard for Jerry Jones to pass up on our Marius Mims.
I know, but Graham Barton. We met with him at the combine. We also brought him in for a 30 visit. We didn't bring Amarius Mims in for a 30 visit. Yeah, it's hard for Jerry Jones to pass up on it, but Jerry Jones is the old man in the room who's yelling, and Stephen Jones and the rest of the company is going to make the decision to draft Graham Barton. Offensive lineman from Duke. They love versatility, man. The guy's played all over the place. He's projected to play in the interior, maybe even center on the offensive line. And we know that the Cowboys, hey, you don't really take centers early. You don't really do that. Well, they're willing to. They've done it in the past, and it's worked out for them. And like I said, Graham Barton can go in multiple different places if they need him to. So Graham Barton, pick 24.
So with the Packers, they have not picked a tackle in the top 100 under their GM. But I feel like they have to, though. I'm going Amarius Mims out of Georgia. Maybe you don't have to rush them in right away, but they need offensive line help. They're pretty set at some other places. I don't know how you add Johnny Newton to a team that has Devontae Wyatt and Kenny Clark in the middle. They drafted Lucas Van Ness on the edge last year, and then have Rashawn Gary and Preston Smith. would love to like turn that strength into even more of a strength, but they need to take offensive line. So I'm taking Armarius Mims out of Georgia.
Yeah. All right. I knew one of my teams was going to get Terrion Arnold, and this is it in Tampa. We traded Carlton Davis for an extra third to the Lions, so it's right now. When we go nickel with corner, so not a big nickel, it's Zion McCullum and Tavier Thomas. That's not good enough. That is not good enough. And so we will be better.
He's a Todd Bowles guy, so I like it.
Yep.
All right, Cardinals are on the clock.
Terrion Arnold. Johnny Newton. Johnny Newton, you are an Arizona Cardinal. Man, I am really excited about it. Bobby, have you watched him yet? Because Giants met with him at a top 30 visit, but we didn't preview him on the interior D line preview.
I have his film downloaded.
Oh man, like the movement. I'm not going to say that he's like Kalijah Cansey, but little undersized. He is bigger than Kalijah Cansey, but undersized, short arms, just breaking 300 pounds. But the lateral movement paired with his hands, paired with the first step explosiveness and the violence, like I think you're going to see a little bit of Kalijah Cansey in him.
Cardinals are going to let him cook too. They're going to let him go out there and play ball. They're not going to try and limit him, limit what he's doing.
No, so that's why I'm really excited about this fit. I think he uses his hands. I think he sheds really well. Like Johnny Newton is my now favorite. Like he's making me wish that the Giants didn't trade like their early second round pick, that maybe there's a chance that he falls. So, but I have him as a first round player, and I'm really excited about this fit.
So now the Bills are on the clock. And hey, I know Buffalo really wants a wide receiver.
They got screwed here.
But like they need offensive line now too. Maybe not the tackles. They can live with Deion Dawkins and Spencer Brown. But I'm going to go Jackson Powers Johnson here. They just, they got rid of Mitch Morse. He went to Jacksonville. You get a guy who could play either center or guard. Check out the film breakdown on him on the channel. They need offensive line help. I know they want wide receiver, but I think that value is going to meet their second round pick much better than this.
Okay, can we just play out a scenario that
the
top 5 receivers are off the board, and now, I mean, Brandon Beane even came out last week and said, we don't have a number 1. He goes, but don't judge us, but we don't have a number 1. It's very rare for a GM to come out and say something about one of his position groups like that. Who calls whom on the T. Higgins between these two teams when they're probably fighting for playoff positioning?
That's the thing. I don't know if these two teams are comfortable trading with each other.
Right. Yeah, and that's why I couldn't pull off some of the trades I wanted, because it's in the division. Like, you could never trade a pick to a division foe when you know they're going to pick a quarterback, because you don't have to face that guy for the next decade twice a year. But what do you think? Do you think that's a possibility?
No.
I think they should wait. If they're going to do something like that, I feel like the wide receiver that is available for a first-round pick, I feel like next year is that. Like, they cleared a lot of money trying to get back in a healthy cap situation. They didn't save any money from Stephon. They lost money from Stephon Diggs. Like, have a year clearing out the books a little bit, and then next year is the time to take a jump at that. And because of the way this, like, everyone, deep wide receiver class. I feel like the Buffalo Bills are the one team that really should take advantage of that. Like, I'm hoping that they can get Javon. Like, I think Javon Baker would be a great fit for them out of UCF, who I'm a lot higher on the consensus. If he can get the pick 60, I feel like that would be a great pick, but you can't pick him at pick 28.
No, who did you say that Javon Baker reminds you of?
Stephon Diggs, yeah. So, makes a lot of sense, I guess.
But why in the world would you waste a year of Josh Allen?
Well, you're not wasting a year. That offense will still be really good.
Yeah.
You think so?
Just not, huh?
You think so?
I know so.
They will
be a top 5 offense in the NFL next year.
I was going to say, I think Josh Allen could still lead a top 10 EPA per play offense. I mean, especially if they're going to, hey, I think this is what McDermott's wanted for a couple years now, since Brian Daboll's basically left, and I think they clashed a little bit. I think Daboll wanted to throw the ball, and hey, let's utilize Josh Allen. And I think McDermott's wanted to run a little bit more of a physical brand of football with running the ball and quote unquote establishing the run game, which I don't like that phrase, but I think that's what he wants to do.
Yeah.
And I think
But I did think about Xavier Worthy here, but take care. Let's get this offensive line taken care. Let's take care of Josh Allen.
yeah, but slowing the game down, I think, is not a terrible thing for the Buffalo Bills this year. And you're still going to have Josh Allen to do some crazy things. If you get to 3rd and long, you're still going to have Josh Allen be able to do that. So,
All right. At 29, Detroit. I know that they've been talking a little bit about some interior offensive line stuff, some guys getting a little older. We lost some guys, all that. But, Kevin Zeitler came in, and as long as he can give you a full season, I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, they lost Jonah Jackson and upgraded. Fucking damn Detroit Lions.
Yeah, as long as he can play every game. That's the key there. So then I'm starting to think corner. Do we go there? And
Kool-Aid's a great fit for them.
I love
Kool-Aid's
Kool-Aid.
still on the board. But I already had this comparison once, and that was that the Eagles did it in Super Bowl 52. You keep adding guys, and they have done an exceptional job of drafting people and adding people. Even like James Houston didn't really play for them last year in his second year, and he's coming back. But there's a guy that you could fit inside and outside in Darius Robinson, who went to Mizzou, but grew up in Southfield, Michigan, and would have a chance to play for his childhood team and is an energy guy. And he's got almost an 85-inch wingspan on top of that. That'll play. So I'm going to go that direction.
Yeah, he's a freak. I know, Bobby, I know you don't fully love him, but I
think, like him. I just didn't like his Senior Bowl performance as much as others.
Right.
I think it's a good fit with the Rams. I just would have went Kool-Aid McKinstry over him with their cornerback situation. They added DJ Reader, which I think is big. Like, they needed that beef in the middle. So I think this helps them, like, stop the run and have more physicality up front. I do view him as a reach in the first round.
Okay, that's what we're all about, reaching.
You see that PFF has Adisa Isaac ranked 38th and Chop Robinson 40th?
That's crazy. That's lunacy.
The Ravens need offensive line help. We've documented it all offseason. They especially need tackle help, but this is a guy that eventually, if you need to kick him inside, because the Ravens, hey, let's keep on adding offensive line as the years go on. A guy like Jordan Morgan from Arizona, he also can play inside as well. But I think year one, he's going to play tackle for you. So give me Jordan Morgan from Arizona. I think Ravens fans are very excited with that pick late in the first round.
So you go from Morgan Moses to Jordan Morgan?
Fits.
Okay.
Alliteration.
First names, you can't trust a guy like that. All right, I got the 49ers on the clock. Would have loved to add offensive line, but we took all the damn offensive linemen. Can we count how many offensive linemen we've taken?
Too many.
Never too many.
I'm going to take Kool-Aid here. Like, he is.
Yeah,
is he my best player available? No, he's not. He is my number 3 on my best players available. But I'm taking Kool-Aid McKinstry. Put him opposite of Charvarius Ward. I know Lenore has been starting for them. They got Ambry Thomas, who they drafted in the late rounds a couple years ago. But I'm going Kool-Aid McKinstry. Give me some length in that 49ers defense.
I think we've taken 9. I think we've taken 9 offensive linemen. And I also have a Diana Rossini tweet here. The New England Patriots are listening and taking calls from teams looking to move into 3. While GM Elliott Wolf is running point, I'm told Patriots president Jonathan Kraft is heavily involved in the decision-making.
Yeah.
Jonathan Kraft is heavily involved in the decision meeting. I love it. I just put my Giants hat on. Drake May. How does it look? How does it look, Drake?
Would you go nuts if that was the case?
I would go nuts. I will shoot. I will start firing off rounds into the ceiling.
So I'm going to finish up the first round with the champs. We know they need a receiver. That's no joke.
Don't make up for my mistake.
What was your mistake again?
I didn't take Xavier Worthy because Hollywood Brown was on the roster.
Yeah, that was a problem. I could easily go with him. I also wonder if, 32, some teams love to trade in for that. Sometimes it's a quarterback, right? Lamar, Teddy Bridgewater were guys who were taken with the last pick of the draft. But the only team you could see doing that would be the Raiders. And there's no way in hell that the Chiefs are going to be like, yeah, come on up here. We'll take a first rounder next year in 43 or whatever pick they've got. Like, I don't see that happening. So, yeah, I guess that I'll make your dream come true here, Bobby. We'll go with Worthy with the pick.
There we go. That's a first round. That was the best player available on the Bobby Big Board.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
So every player that I have a first round grade on got taken. That's good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Nobody that had Darius Robinson was the lowest. I have a high third on him.
High third.
And yeah. He'll go in the second. Like he's gonna be like he's the second round player in this draft. But like the way I grade them, Rose, is where am I really happy to pick this player?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So hey, like last year, the Giants took Banks in the first round. I had him as a high second, but obviously, like you don't have, there's not as many first round grades as there is first round picks. So
that's true.
It gets bumped up, but I did have a good amount of people ahead of him. But there is an ability there. Like I like his film. I just didn't love his Senior Bowl as much as other people did. My best players available left are Edgerrin Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
We took Kool-Aid, Chop Robinson, Cam Kinchins, Troy Franklin, Christian Haynes, Devondre Sweat, Javon Baker. But there's a lot of guys I need to watch in that second round too.
Well, you better hurry up.
Which it stresses me out. It stresses me out very much. It's just I can't do every player, unfortunately.
Of course you can't.
I have 115 none though, so I'm happy.
So if we have 5 quarterbacks taken in the top 11 picks, that will be nuts. And I would love every minute of it.
It's going to be so interesting to see what the Broncos and Raiders and Vikings do. Like, there are 3 teams picking 3 in a row, and the Vikings seem the most eager to get up there and have the best capital to do it. But the Raiders and the Broncos should be the teams that are more desperate to do it. So are they desperate enough to take Bo Nix or Michael Penix? So it'll be interesting. But it would be crazy to see those guys go top of the first round when a guy like Will Levis fell to the second round last year.
Yeah.
There you have it.
Okay. Well, we are going to put out another episode summarizing the first round of the draft, right? That'll be coming out on Friday.
Yep.
So we'll break that down. That will be a blast. Everybody enjoy the draft coverage. I'll be out there on NFL Network on Thursday and Friday as the pregame show. So for
Can we
3
get
hours,
a Talking Giants versus the World on the broadcast?
Yeah, do you just want me to wear a T-shirt like that or something?
Can you just wear T-shirts?
Yeah, no, I can't.
You can't?
It's not going to happen. I could wear it into the building if you want.
You're shaking your head.
Do you have a computer in
no.
front? Do you have a computer in front of you
right now?
When you're on the TV? No, you don't.
Yeah, when I'm on TV, yes, of course I do. I mean, how else?
But it's like in the table.
No, it's not. It's on my. Go watch.
He's asking if you could put a sticker on the
Yeah,
computer.
that I can't do. That I
So
can't
you
do.
can't do that.
I have a nice fat NFL logo. Yeah.
Yeah.
No branding. No branding except for the shield. That's all we got.
That's why you got to sneak it in right before commercial break.
Just be like, when the Giants come up and be like, man, it truly is Talking Giants versus the world.
Yeah.
No, I'll slide that in there. I'll say, okay, with the 6th pick, we're talking Giants. How's that?
Versus the world.
Versus the world.
Okay. I'll throw that in there.
What about day 3? We can sneak some shit
I'm not
in
on
there.
day 3. Day 3, they get right to the coverage. We go. We just go. There's too much other stuff going on. They just go.
Hey, we do the same thing. We start the stream maybe 5 minutes before the first pick, and it's like, all right, we're here.
All right, boys. Have a blast covering the draft. It's always a ton of fun. It's amazing. If you really think about it, I remember a bunch of years ago, what was it, 2019, when they had the draft in Nashville, which was far and away the best one on Broadway.
Yep.
And it was pouring rain in the middle of the first round, and nobody was leaving. I was like, oh, God, all these people are going to leave. They didn't leave. And I turned to, I think I turned to Mooch. I was like, Mooch, look at this for just a second. Do you realize what we're doing is we're reading names off of a list?
Mhm.
Like, think about it. That's what the event is. We're reading names, and we have hundreds of thousands of people here to enjoy it. It's unbelievable. It's an
The
unbelievable
Islanders playoff
experience.
game is happening Thursday night. There's going to be more people watching the NFL draft than NHL hockey.
It won't be close.
Oh yeah, by probably like times 10,
It won't be
honestly.
close. It
Who's
will,
gonna-
and this is a great draft because you've got quarterbacks that could go
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4 for the first time. And as we talked about, we've got that group, the 11 through 13, that all need quarterbacks. And so who's willing to move and who's not? We'll be discussing this not just for weeks and weeks and months, years, I think. Years. All right. We're back at it again Friday for our amazing producer, Mikey, for the dudes from the Talking Giants versus the World, Bobby Skinner and Justin Pennick. I am Chris Rose. We will see you Friday to break down round 1 of the draft here on Football Today.